Hello and welcome to another edition of the SportsHeads from Verge Magazine. I'm Andre Dixon, your host as normal. Very, very tired from watching a lot of sports last night, including the big game, but obviously we'll get to that in a minute. I'm here with my pals, buddies, amigos, Sam Morgan, Dan Falui. How are you guys?
Very well.
Mate, we got a great episode because Seattle won. Seattle #1 place in the NFC, mate. Oh, you know I'm excited. You know your boy is excited. Not just like obviously the basketball draft and the great week, mate. It's been a greght week of sports, mate. All in all.
Yeah, so I've got a person who's equally as happy after last week's beating. So let's get you to sit down a little bit. Hannah Wilkes from Sky Sports NFL. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a bit gutted that I wasn't introduced along with the amigos and friends, but I'll take it. Dan.
You are my chum, my amigo, my friendie, my bestie.
Great.
Is that better? That make you feel better?
Dan, you can be gloating over last night to Sam, but still lost on Sunday night. So.
Cheers! Oh. You know what it is? You know what?
Was it Russell Wilson's worst performance of the season because he was stopped by the Rams defense? Yeah.
You know what? You can't. You know what? Yeah, that was a one-off game. When you come for the rematch, you're going to see a different Seattle because Russ is not going to do what Russ did before. Russ, I had a conversation. I'll tell you something, Anna. Yeah, I had a little conversation with Russ because I got his DM. Don't worry, I had a little DM slipped into Russ. I was like, Russ, mate, you're hurting me. You're hurting me hard because back-to-back weeks, 10 turnovers, second most turnovers in the league. We can't be doing that. Russ said, you know what? Yeah, I got you, bro. I got you. My friend from the UK, and I can't let Dan down. What did he do? Put in that performance from last night. He gets himself back into that MVP talk. I was like, Russ, mate, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl winner, back-to-back Super Bowls. You got to get MVP as well. You know, you're future Hall of Famer. So you know, you answer the call. We're gonna see a Dangerous coming through. Dangerous is coming through. Don't worry, Hannah. You know, that was a blip.
You're talking quite fast and high pitched, so maybe you're a little bit worried. I don't know. Anyway,
I love it. The only reason I'm with Dan on this bandwagon is purely for fantasy reasons, and his drab performance against your Rams cost me a victory.
9 points. He put up like 9 points in fantasy week 10, didn't he? Like it
terrible.
Was the first time I think he was out of the top 10 for fantasy point scorers.
Yeah.
So I told you. That's what I told you. I had to have that conversation with Ross. We've had that conversation. It's been settled. Ross is to perform from now on. Go in. Don't worry.
This guy. Let's go into last night's game. I don't know what time on day it is now because of 2 hours sleep that definitely Sam Morgan and myself have had. Sam, I'll come to you because you're suffering with me. Your Cardinals put up a fight, brave fight, but they lost in the end. Kyler did really well, but what's your view on the game?
Do you know what? I think there wasn't much of a game plan really that's caused them to win the game. I think the fact that Kyler got rocked for me really put its toll on how they actually won the game. I think once he done that, they were having to put heat on his shoulder every time he went out. We just didn't get going. It took too long to get going. We had a few sort of the 3 and outs too quickly. Obviously punting away. Cliff obviously I think made a couple of decisions that maybe should have kept us in it a little bit more. Patrick Peterson I think was still gloating from last week's Hail Mary because he was all over. I think for Lockett's touchdown, I think it was the first one. He was nowhere to be seen. He just dropped into a zone that he shouldn't even been in. He was doing man coverage and then dropped into the zone very, very last minute, which I didn't think was the Pro Bowler that we would expect from Patrick Peterson for that one. But I would say this. What you've got to worry about with the Seahawks is now the running game is obviously starting to come back. Obviously, Carlos Hyde came back. Managed to snap him up on waivers. So, it was pretty decent to see that performance. But I think that's the worry now, or people have got to worry a bit, is the fact that, yes, you've still got Russell Wilson, but you've also now got Carson's going to be returning next week, along with Carlos Hyde. That run game is going to be strong. And, Metcalf's a freak. That's what, he's an absolute freak. But interestingly, the last couple of games he's had against the Cardinals, he's only actually put up, I think it's 27 yards before. And now, obviously, last night, obviously, I think it proving a point. And again, I think Patrick Peterson's still skidding on his ankle and across the field somewhere with how he left.
He definitely sent him for pizza. That's for sure. He's still running after him now, like with that missed tackle.
I'm not worried though. I'm not worried though. I think the one thing we need to go back to as a Cardinal, from a Cardinals perspective, is cutting out these penalties. You know, we cost ourselves a few penalties like that. Arnold just on the line, too many false starts. I think when we try and do that sort of no huddle offense, I think we need to get that right, and you have to have that bit of discipline. So I'm not too worried. Congratulations that they won, but let's be honest, anything's going to change from week to week in that division. The only guarantee I will say is that the 49ers will not obviously win. That's the only guarantee that I can give right now.
Well, you better be careful after some of Hannah's predictions that doesn't come back and bite you, because I will make sure I timestamp this one to make sure. So well done to Seahawks, and well done to my fantasy team as well so far. So let's get to the main topics on the hurry up, because that's what we're here for. So I'm going to go through, first of all, the Saints. They're 7-2, ticking along nicely. You know, I think they're kind of under everyone's radar because, you know, there's certain level of expectation people have got from them, but no frills as such. But then out of the blue, then Drew Brees now has a I think it's a collapsed lung and broken ribs. So now it turns to some questionable backups. Jameis Winston, who's going to be doing all of this stuff. I want to see the actual team talks and then the reaction of some of the teammates that he has of when he actually gives his motivational speeches. And then obviously you have the Swiss Army knife that they have as a backup as well. Anyway, but I'm going to ask you guys. I'll start with Hannah first of all, just waiting patiently after our long chat. Hannah, do you feel that this is going to be a serious problem for the Saints with Drew Brees out? Should they be worried, and or do you think they're done without Drew Brees, heading the ship?
I don't think they're necessarily done, and that is because although Drew Brees is Drew Brees, their offense is strong, their defense is decent. They are coached by Sean Payton. It's, there's everything around him puts them in a position to be successful even when he's not on the field. Don't forget he only played 11 games last season and they made it to the playoffs. Admittedly, the big difference was the backup. It was Teddy Bridgewater then, and now when it's Jameis Winston or Tyson Hill, it's a slightly different story. Few things make me less comfortable watching football than Jameis Winston, particularly sort of in the red zone. It's like panic. It's nerve-wracking to watch. But I will say as well, the Saints' schedule for the rest of the season, for the next month or so, because we don't know how long Brees is going to be out, but their next month isn't too bad. They play the Falcons twice, they play the Broncos, and they play the Eagles early December. Their next sort of big test, if you will, is sort of Christmas week. They play the Chiefs, then the Vikings, who are quite on the up at the moment. So they've got the best part of a month to get Brees back. I don't know how quickly you can recover from a collapsed lung. Shock and horror, I'm not a doctor. But I think when they're playing the Falcons twice, the Broncos, and they should beat the Eagles as well. I don't think they're done. It makes life harder, of course it does. But I think they're in a good enough position. They've got Michael Thomas back, although he's not been particularly productive. Alvin Kamara as well. It's obviously Alvin Kamara. He's playing sublimely for them. Although, am I right in thinking he might be injured this week? Did I see that?
I think it's questionable. Yeah,
questionable. So they've got the players on the field, both offensively and defensively, to sort of carry them some of the way, even without your first choice quarterback. I think what will be interesting is, I know they're going with Jameis Winston, but it'll be how they use Taysom Hill. He is Sean Payton's go gadget, and we saw in the game when Brees came out that Taysom Hill was playing a lot of the third downs, which is interesting. So I think it might be more of a mix of the two of them. But Jameis Winston as well, I'm not sure he's the kind of quarterback that if you throw him in midway through a game, he's going to do particularly well. But with a week to prepare, I think he's a slightly better player. So no, I don't think it's a write-off for them. I think the Saints have got enough strength around them on and off the field that they should be okay. And the schedule helps massively.
I say interesting take actually. Yeah, definitely Taysom Hill with more time to prepare. I mean, who can prepare for Taysom Hill? Like who knows where he's going to be playing? Dan, get in there.
Jameis, 30 for 30, Jameis. I don't know where to begin. Look, the Saints, I mean, I think, to be fair, I want to make this bold prediction. I think Drew Brees is out for the rest of the season, personally. I think he's out. You know, you're in your, late 30s. He's got a collapsed lung, broken ribs. If they make it to the Super Bowl, they'll pay him. But I think he's done. Now, going back to Jameis Winston, I don't understand the dude. The cat's, he's a strange cat, to be fair. The eating the W was just weird. If I was his teammate, I'd be like, yeah, no, mate, this guy, yeah, take it to the side. Yeah, he needs help.
Oh, great. So, makes me really uncomfortable.
Yeah. I don't know how you could do that to grown-ass men and inspire them as your leader, as the quarterback. So I don't know. That being said, he did get over 5,000 yards last season, which is, one of only 8 quarterbacks in NFL history to do so. That also coupled the fact that it was also 30 interceptions as well. But I think that might be partly Bruce Arians. When you look at Bruce Arians and BA's record, the quarterbacks he's had, highest number of interceptions in them. Andrew Luck, you now got, Tom Brady's, 7, 9 interceptions? That's the highest in the last 6 to 8 years of his career. So you look at that, even, Peyton Manning, you look at sort of Ben Roethlisberger as well, highest interceptions. I think that's partly down to BA. I think Jameis, with the Arsenal weapons, with Alvin Kamara in the backfield, with Michael Thomas, who's still a bona fide elite receiver, I think he's going to do well. Look, Teddy Bridgewater went 5-0 with the Saints. Carolina's not 5-0. So I think Jameis as well, he did get them to 7-9. I think with Sean Payton, he will probably get less interceptions. So I think they will carry him. And there's a reason why they got him as a backup. So yeah, I like that.
Sam, what say you, sir?
I don't think it's going to work out too well. I think you might see Taysom Hill taking more snaps than you think. I think he got sacked. Good stats from Dan also, yeah, but he actually got sacked 47 times as well whilst at Tampa. His decision making is horrendous. And I think if you're going to be in that Sean Payton, lineup for me, I think you've got to be able to think quite quickly on your feet, because that's what Drew Brees does. I think once things collapse or it doesn't go well, he's quick on his feet. Jameis isn't. So what Jameis does is he just throws it out there and goes, oh, hopefully someone catches it, hence the 30 interceptions. So I don't think that's going to work too well for him before patience is lost and Taysom Hill goes in there probably on a bit more of a regular basis, or they just really do stick to the run game. But what a shame that's going to be when you've got someone like Michael Thomas who's back. So that's why I think they obviously go down the Taysom Hill route a little bit more, or it will become a QB by committee. in a sense, and it will be. Don't be surprised if it is very rotated even more than you think. But I just don't think he'll be putting in for certain games there, especially if there's the pass rush. They're going up against someone a good pass rush. He will just air that ball out there, and I don't think they've got the right person in a slot potentially to actually cope with that and stop those interceptions.
Just one final word on it. I was sidelined for Tampa's game. I can't remember who they played last year over here at Tottenham, and literally watching Jameis on the same sort of level at him and seeing pass rush coming, him panicking. I've never seen a quarterback look so it looks like a white mist of panic comes down and he just launches it here, there, and everywhere. I was sidelined with the guys from the Around the NFL podcast, and they said the good people of London deserve to see a better quarterback than this when they only get. I was like, wow, okay, yeah, fair enough.
Jesus.
But then on the other hand, I do wonder, he's been in the Saints setup. He's been around Drew Brees. That is going to have had an impact. So it'll be really interesting to watch, I think.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Drew Brees comes back. I mean, I'm hoping he does. After the last 2 unlucky seasons, finales that the Saints have had, it'll be nice for them to be able to, at least have a full assortment of weapons together. I don't want their season kind of running out just like this. It'll be terrible to see, but we'll see. It'll be quite interesting on Sunday. We'll be watching, that's for sure. Now let's go to my guy, the one that I anointed king after he beat Hannah's Rams on his debut game, Tua. Now, He's 3-0 as a starter at the moment. Hannah's looking at me really sharply at the moment.
You're my top left box. I'm giving the top left like a.
Yeah, so he's 3-0 as a starter. You know, I people like me who are on this bandwagon, the Tua bandwagon, have anointed him the new king. Dan, I'll come to you first of all because I'm going to wait for Hannah's salty response to it in a minute. Dan, what do you think? Do you think Tua is the real deal?
Mate, all Tua has ever done he's won. He's won in high school. Granted, you know, the school they were unbeaten for like 3-4 years. He's won at Alabama. He's now winning the NFL. I didn't like his comment when he said that the NFL was easier than he expected. That's a warning sign.
He's literally just come out and said, I was wrong on that. It's not.
Yeah. Do not ever say that because you're painting a target on your back. And for a guy who's had life-threatening hip surgery, don't do that, mate, because you are facing 300-pound grown-ass men who are going to come for you. So that I didn't like. But look, Tua is a very accurate quarterback. He doesn't have that deep ball threat that Herbert has. He doesn't probably have that pose in the pocket that Burrow has in terms of being able to stand against the tackle. He's not as athletic and quick as people think he is, but he's still very accurate and he's still a very good quarterback. Now, given the fact that I think two quarterbacks in the NFL, you know, they've started to become less of a prospect and more of a guaranteed, you know what you're going to get. They can slot in first year and do really well. You start to see a lot of quarterbacks like that, the Kyler Murrays of this world, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. But it also depends on the organization you go to. And Tua has been fortunate that he has Brian Flores. That Miami Dolphin organization seems to be getting better and better. Brian Flores is a great coach. He's my nomination for Coach of the Year. So I think with that setup, Tua is going to have a bright future, but he needs to keep his mouth shut, understand he's a rookie, understand that they're not asking him to do much. He's throwing less, maybe 20 times in some games. Boom, that's it. So, but yeah, I think Tua's got a bright future in the NFL.
Sam, what say you, sir?
I'm not convinced, personally. I don't think like as Dan just said, he's not throwing the ball that much. I mean, could you have not got? You could get someone else in to do that. I don't, you know, I get Jameis Winston to throw it 20 times. Do you know what I mean? I'm just saying, I'm still not convinced. Plus, the schedule, you lot are going to be, especially you, Dre, in the next few weeks, still being his biggest hype man. Their schedule: the Broncos, Jets, and the Bengals. Let's see when he plays the Chiefs and he gets rocked. And then we'll see if we're having a proper chat then. Because right now, I'm not convinced. He's not, as I said, he's not throwing the ball that much. A couple of touchdowns. He's not balled out. We're not looking at someone that will, you know, and I'll be a homer pick. We're not talking about a Kyler Murray. And people are still questioning whether he could be an MVP. There's Kyler Murray and there's Tua with his rocked hip. It's not even close. It's not even close. And as I say, they're going to go through the schedule. People can... Listen, a win is a win. It's great. But all I'm saying is that ultimately, everyone is getting a little bit too excited. And as Dan just said, when someone rocks him properly, let's see if he soldiers on.
Why?
Because I'm not having it. I'm just not. I'm sorry. There's been so much hype around Tua since the draft, and I'm still.
Let me come back to you, Sam. Let me quickly come back to you on that, Sam. I think the thing is, the mistake we're forgetting is obviously a lot of these quarterbacks have come in and they've excelled in. Herbert, you're throwing 30 times a game, but you look at the great quarterbacks, the Tom Brady's, the Big Ben, Russell Wilson. They were game time managers. They were meant to throw 15, 20 times a game at max while you lean on the rest of the support. Russell Wilson went on the Super Bowl on the back of the defense. So did Tom Brady. So did Big Ben. That's what you're seeing Brian Flores do. He's recreating a system and a pattern of play that works in the NFL. So I wouldn't say, look at how many throws he's doing. He's not doing that way. Therefore, I can't rate him. I'll look at his note. It's a system in place. Arizona had nothing in place.
Play someone decent. What I'm saying is play someone
decent.
The
Rams were decent
right now.
Let's let Hannah come in with some sense because her team has actually witnessed the greatness of Tua. What say you?
Well, they didn't witness the greatness of Tua, did they? Because he only threw the ball 12 times. The defense and special teams won that one, which was everyone is in agreement there. You can't deny that. But look, here's the thing. It is still too early to judge him. But frankly, this season doesn't matter in terms of whether he's great or not. It is a masterclass from Brian Flores in how to bring in your rookie quarterback. Everyone threw their toys out the pram when they benched Fitzgerald. Like, my God, like, what are they doing? But like you say, the schedule is perfect to bring in a rookie quarterback, especially when your defense and special teams are playing as well as they are. It's not about him. He doesn't have to be doing that much. He can get comfortable. He can get used to playing in the NFL because it is different. And he missed a year of college. So we haven't seen much of him yet, but I like what I'm seeing. He's thrown 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's important. That's impressive. You don't get many, young players not throwing interceptions. And yeah, that's all part of the scheme, but that's the plan. The plan is working. So I think we're not going to see him putting up crazy numbers the rest of this season. That's not what Brian Flores is trying to do. We'll be in a better position to judge, I think, this time next year when he's comfortable. He's got used to playing at this level, and they can go, right, let's let him off the leash and see what he can actually do here. I think it's too early to judge, but there have been moments. I disagree with you slightly, Dan. I think he does look mobile. I think he does look fast. And like you say, that sort of long ball threat, maybe not there yet, but he's so accurate, almost for that. Well, than me, I reined it back in. He's incredibly accurate. So he's got all the pieces, and I think let's judge it in a year, because of course we're going to want a quick response and we're going to want to see someone straight off the bat, but really he's a long-term prospect for the Dolphins. They were never going to win the Super Bowl this season, but a couple of years down the line, that's where they want to be.
Well, with that defense, you never know now, because they definitely got the best defense by far. But two is balling out, and I'm going to be there right alongside him, bandwagon and all. Just remember to who supported you first, me.
Every Dolphins fan in the UK, I have to say, not to be disrespectful, Drake, but there are a group of people of a similar age who are all big Dolphins fans because they got into when they were successful before, and they're like, we've been waiting for ages for this. I'm like, you have, guys. You deserve it. You deserve it.
Let me just say,
she said similar age. She made grey hairs. She made grey hairs or balding.
This is when you know your family, when the joshing starts straight away.
I just said similar age. I didn't specify what age those people are.
They were looking good. Chocolate. Right, let's go into other people that have made very bold statements as well. So DeMarcus Lawrence has been talking quite a lot, and he guarantees the Cowboys will stop the Vikings rushing attack by quoting this. This will not be a repeat of the Browns games. Do you guys feel that it's a foolish statement for him to make, considering the form of Dalvin Cook? I'll start off with you, Hannah.
Yeah, I think it's a very foolish statement to make, given the form of Dalvin Cook and the general standard that the Dallas Cowboys defense has been playing this year. I've got to admit, I haven't watched them the last few weeks. There are some games, when you're catching up on all the games and it's highlights, you think life is too short. I have things to do. I think, mind games, fair enough, make a bold statement. I'm sure they've got a game plan and we'd love to see it. But if you can shut down Dalvin Cook, fair play to you. But the way he's been playing the last few weeks, and longer, good luck to them. I said it earlier, I think that the Vikings are a team that are getting better. They're coming into their own. I think their record is slightly inaccurate. I think we saw that in with them against the Bears on Monday night. The records going into that and how the games played did not reflect the teams accurately. Fair play. Good luck to the Cowboys come that game, but I think that's a very bold statement. Can you just for a second imagine Dalvin Cook running at you? Like, seriously, I'd just get out of the way.
A lot of people do. Sam, what do you think, sir?
I want to know he must have hit his head, or it's got really hot over there, because they are second from bottom in terms of rush defense, allowing an average 157 yards per game. No. So you're not stopping Dalvin Cook. You haven't even come up to greatness at the moment. Now you're going to play him? Absolutely not. Do you know what? I would pull a sickie. I'd say I got temperature, COVID, and just say he balled out and it was because I wasn't there. At least then you can still try and keep some sort of clout, because you're getting none come Sunday, because they're going to get rolled over. The guy is he's outrageous, Dalvin Cook. And as he said right now, that offensive line of the Vikings is allowing that to happen. And they're allowing, obviously, the deeper threat as well. So forget just the rushing. You've got someone like Jefferson now who's obviously coming into his
I've
own
got
as
my
well.
fantasy
Obviously,
team. He's saved me from complete embarrassment last week. So
that's it. And you know the Vikings are on a bit of a that snowball effect now. They've picked up that momentum. Obviously, where people were a little bit worried at the start, and now that momentum's really kicked in. That I think why would you stoke the fire even more? I don't understand that when your rush defense is that bad. Even if you were sitting middle of that table there, then you might sort of flip of a coin. There's no flip of a coin right now. They're going to get steamrolled, and that was a foolish thing to say. Good luck, and I can't wait to see the numbers come Sunday evening.
Dan, you going to make it a full house against the Cowboys?
3 words, mate. Ain't nobody caring. No one cares about this game, right? He's talking and he's mentioning shit. He's mentioning stuff. And I'm sorry, but what? Like, ain't nobody care about this game. Nobody cares about this. Like, it's just because Dallas is...
He's got us talking about it, so he knows what he's doing.
Mate, it's just because it's Dallas Cowboys and it's a so-called America's team, but ain't nobody care about this game. Mate, it's the Vikings. They're going to win. Hands down. Dallas' defense is historically bad. Like, outside of the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm a fan of Seattle, Dallas has got the second worst defense in the league, so ain't nobody care. Joey, let's move on. Ain't nobody care.
Move on, we shall. So let's move on to the Steelers. They're a perfect record at the moment. The team to beat, best team in the NFL. But Mike Tomlin said that the only thing that's perfect about the Steelers is the record. So I'm thinking that he's being very careful and cautious per game because obviously this could actually be their season. So I'll start off with you, Sam. Do you feel that the Steelers can actually go undefeated for the rest of the season?
I mean, in short, yes. They obviously they can, just based on the form and how they've been playing. However, the games that obviously looking their schedule, I think the games obviously to worry about when I circle these are still going to be the Ravens because that rivalry we still got to look at. And again, we don't know what Lamar Jackson's going to turn up on those days, but I question that they might be able to deal with him. But I still look at the Bills, and lastly the Browns. Those games there, I think are the question marks for me. I think if they come through the Bills, I can see Hannah looking at me really strangely.
Probably because I mentioned the same face.
Probably because I mentioned the Browns potentially, but I think
the Colts over the Browns. But okay.
No, I just think at the moment you say that.
But if I had to, I'd say the Colts.
The Browns rushing game is still something that actually might get them to bring that a little bit closer. They're going to have Nick Chubb available as well as Kareem Hunt. That I think that by then they might be resting players. The games they're done. They've got the top seed. Also, why would they rest or have the better players out? I think if you're gonna go for unbeaten, you've got to have your best side out all the way through. I'm just saying there's going to be a time when the players are going to get rested. So if you're going to say undefeated, yes, but realistically, are they going to be putting out full strength? No, because it will be wrapped up. They'll have the season will be done by those points when they come up against them games. That I don't think they will by then. Just based on that.
Let's Hannah, and then Dan. Let's see what you guys think.
So I think it's a really big ask to remain undefeated. I think Sam makes a really good point there as well. That if they've got that number 1 seed spot, the interesting thing is with the fact that there is only one bye week, arguably. No matter how well you're playing, you've got to play well at the end of the season just in case, because it's not like previous years where you have 3 games left and you've got that home advantage for the playoffs and the bye week. So I think they're going to have to keep playing till the bitter end for that, more than they would have maybe done last year. When I looked at the Steelers' upcoming games a little while ago, actually, the 2 that stood out for me as potential hiccups were the Ravens and the Bills. I think there's a really strong chance they will finish the regular season 14-2, maybe even 15-1. But they had some close games against the Cowboys. The Ravens game was a strange one, I think, and it really could have, they got the better of them. But it was tight to start with, particularly in that first half. And they had a close game against the Titans. So, like Mike Tomlin says, they are by no means perfect. And it's going unbeaten is really difficult to do. I reckon 14-2, even if, as Sam says, it's those last couple of games they kind of sit back a little bit. Their last 2 regular season games are the Colts and the Browns. So with the new playoff structure, I think they're going to have to keep playing those to the bitter end. Yeah, I think they can do it. I'd love to see them do it, but it's a big ask.
Dan?
Yeah, I mean, Sam, I don't know why he's saying the Browns. I don't know. Have you seen Baker's record in the division? The Baker's record outside of the Bengals. Bengals are the only team he has a winning record with. Every other team he's got a losing record with. So no, we're not putting the Browns as a contender. I don't care what anyone has to say.
I'm just saying,
nah. You see, the reason why I say no, because also what Hannah's point is, it's right. The new format has actually eliminated that we're going to rest. And I think teams have seen, you take out rest 2 weeks away from football is hard to get by. We've seen teams take that breather like Baltimore last season, and they don't do well. Also, are we realistically thinking that they're going to wrap up AFC by week 12, 13, 14? Like, Kansas, stop sleeping on Kansas City. They've only lost once to the Raiders. And I guarantee with what the Raiders did about circling the bus around their stadium, they're going to whoop their ass. So, like, Kansas is still hot on the trail. I don't think the Steelers are going to rest their players. I think pride as well. That division has pride more than anything else. And they don't want to lose to the Browns. They don't want to lose to Baker Mayfield. He's a bit of a jerk when it comes to winning. No, they're not going to do that. Do I think they'll go undefeated? I think they'll lose to the Ravens because the last game was very close. I think it was a stoppage play before to win. Big Ben has had these moments, but again, people are sleeping on him as an MVP. 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and 3 of them was in one game against Tennessee. So Big Ben's actually a solid shout for MVP. Mike Tomlin, great coach. He is right. They're not perfect. They're making mistakes. They play down to their opposition, and that's what they need to fix if they are going to go all the way.
I think you picked the wrong fans to annoy when it comes to the Raiders fans. Like, you saying that they're definitely going to get a whooping.
Mate, I stand by it.
For Louis. Please
stand by it 100%.
Raiders fans, please come at him.
Come at me, bro. Come at me.
Let's not forget, I think, Dan, you make a really good point about how everyone's kind of sleeping on the Chiefs a little bit. And I know I'm guilty of this because of how good they are and the way they go about their business. They've not been in the headlines this year because they are just winning like they always do. That Raiders game is the one game they've lost in over a year. Like, you cannot ignore them.
I think because the Raiders game was a beating. Like, the Raiders came and competed with them. So I want to see if you guys with the same energy when it comes to next week if the Raiders win again, because it is a possibility.
No, it's very hard to beat a division rivals twice in a season. But also, I think people, again, the reason why they sleep on Anna's point is because Mahomes isn't asked to do much. And that's the scary thing. Their defense is legit. Their rushing game is there. And Mahomes is not, they're not asking Mahomes to do much. They're basically doing a Tom Brady where it's like, win us the game if you have to, but we're not really going to have to win you the game. 3/4 of the way, if we're down, Mahomes, do your magic. If not, bang, Mahomes, just take it easy. We don't want you to be in pressure. We don't want you to get injured. And it's working. That's the scary thing about it. That's why I said, don't sleep on the Chiefs.
Sam, last word on this?
What, on the Chiefs? I mean, you can't... Oh, it's in general for me. The Chiefs. Again, don't worry about them. I don't think there's ever a fault that you can sleep on them. I think, as Hannah just said it, they've just been going about their business so much that people do forget about them slightly. On the Steelers and Big Ben and the MVP shout, who was it at the start of this said that he was finished? I think it might have been our old friend Chris said that Big Ben was.
I was thinking, was it me? That's something I would have said.
No, it was Chris. He said that over Big Ben.
I'm gonna go back into the tape.
Yeah, so shout out to Chris when you watch this again. Hang your head in shame because Big Ben has been.
So let's go to the weekend's games, the games that you guys are looking forward to. Obviously, I'll go to you, Hannah, last about the Sky NFL games.
Thank you, because as ever, I've forgotten since I announced them on Tuesday, and I just need to check.
I've got your back. You see, I tried to cover you for you there.
Honestly, it's like, I do it and then I forget.
So Dan, what game are you looking forward to at the weekend?
There's a few games.
Uh-huh.
There are a few games. I think for me, you've got the Tampa Bay. I'm looking at them. That's going to be a very interesting game. I'm still not sure. I think BA needs to just settle on their rushing attack, and I think going forward, that's something they need to do. Take the ball out of Tom Brady's hands. Not that he's not a great quarterback, but allow Tom Brady to manage the game. Don't put it all on his shoulders. So I think I'm looking forward to that game in particular. And I'm just thinking, what else? Because I mean, there are some sorry games out there. But actually, you know what? I'm actually looking forward to Tua, seeing how he's going to do with that against Denver, seeing that team. Drew Lock, I'm still not certain. I haven't bought into him at all. But you know, that's going to be a harder game than most people realize. So those are my two games I'm looking forward to the most.
Sam?
Yeah, I mean, the Saints Falcons will be interesting just to see whether. I think it'll be a high scoring game, and there'll be plenty of interceptions, just as we've mentioned Jameis Winston as well. So it could be a bit of an electric game. I'm actually looking forward to the Ravens and Titans of the weekend. You know, I know obviously on what was it, on Tuesday is the Rams Bucks, which obviously is a given. But as we're going to class it the weekend, then yeah, I think the Ravens Titans game will be an interesting one to watch. Lamar Jackson has to bounce back in terms of like showing his ability again. I think people are literally questioning him. I think this will show his true MVP status. I know it's from last year, but showing how good he can be, because all the great QBs, I think we've mentioned, Tom Brady does not have 2 bad games. So if you're going to start to put yourself in that category, it'd be interesting to see if he can start to put himself back in that sort of category of an elite QB, because it's not been a great year for him. So, and Tannehill and the Titans need to get moving. And who doesn't like watching Derrick Henry stiff arm every opponent he comes up against?
That never ever gets old, honestly. Hannah, so let's go through the Sky Sports NFL games before you say your favourite games, which I suspect I can know what that is.
They're all the games you've mentioned, actually. So 6 o'clock on Sunday, it's the Tennessee Ravens game, which I think is a really interesting one too, because I think the Titans, there's something like they're playing well. There's something that I'm still just not fully sold on them as sort of a real Super Bowl level contender team. And we've seen moments of it, but I feel they've been a bit inconsistent. And the Ravens as well, they definitely need it. I think it's a bit unfair to say that Lamar Jackson needs to prove he's an elite QB. He's always going to have a drop off from last year. That's what happens when you have a record breaking season. But you know, he's still throwing for over 1,700 yards and got a very decent completion percentage as well this year. I think it's more in his head. We talked about this last week. I think they feel like they've been figured out, and that loss to the Patriots won't have confirmed that, especially when Cam Newton said afterwards that Bill Belichick predicted everything that was going to happen in that game. So I think that's more on the offensive coordinator to give Jackson something new to shine through. So yeah, looking forward to that one. And I'm also looking forward to the Green Bay Indianapolis Colts game as well. That one is live on Sky Sports and so on brand. That's a 9 o'clock game. That's a good one too, because I think the Packers again have been a little inconsistent. There was a loss to the Vikings. Aaron Rodgers did not look like Aaron Rodgers against the Jaguars on Sunday. He was making mistakes. He was, there was some great catches still. Devontae Adams kind of helped him out, but he didn't look like himself. Why are you side-eyeing me?
You hold on now when you talk about my Aaron Rodgers now.
No, I'm a massive Aaron Rodgers fan. I'm literally saying he did not look like Aaron Rodgers on the field on Sunday. So he's going to, it should not have been a 4-point game between the Packers and the Jaguars, really, should it? With no disrespect.
The bar's high with him, so that's what I think.
Exactly. As he said, his bad seasons are some people's best, but you get my point. So yeah, those are the standouts for me. I am very nervous for the Monday Night Football game between the Bucks and the Rams. I think we've talked so much about how tight the NFC West is, and I think the Rams have got the toughest run-in because of this Bucks game. And I think it's going to be a real challenge. And the way Brady bounced back after that loss to the Saints is scary.
I'm going to go with your Rams on that one. I really do believe. Yeah, I think that I think that people are kind of they're not getting the coverage and the props that they normally would get. I think they've been ticking along really nicely. They're not doing.
We don't play exciting football.
Yeah, they're not doing anything spectacular. That's all it is. And Cooper Kupp hasn't got going as normal. But I definitely think. But remember, obviously, it's the names that attract all the attentions, and there's so much storylines with other people. I do think that there's going to be I wouldn't say a shock. I think that it will be a victory to the Bucks, and I really do want the Raiders, now that Dan has just written them off so quickly. I want the Raiders to beat the Chiefs as well. So we'll see. All right, you know what? We're going to put this on the timestamp, and then we're going to see who wins this weekend. That's for sure. So you guys nailing your flag to the mast.
There, that is Andy Reid. Can you imagine the stuff he's been coming up with this week? Sorry, but yeah,
it's going to be an obliteration.
Not twice. You don't lose. Andy Reid doesn't get beaten twice by the same team.
Mate, they drove a bus around an empty stadium. They're going to get battered.
I really can't wait for this game. So, Sam, are you with them?
What, on the Raiders? Yeah. What, Raiders winning?
Am I on the island on my own?
You're on your own.
You're on your own.
I've been there before. That's why I'm wearing this jersey.
You might as well wear a Dallas Cowboys. You should wear a Dallas Cowboys jersey.
Never in my life.
Because then there's all...
Never in my life.
Yeah.
That's the one jersey that I would never wear. Guys, thank you so much for listening and watching in. And, catch Hannah. It's on Tuesdays at 7 p.m.
9 p.m., mate. 9
you can get there,
Come on, mate.
Get there at 7 p.m. and just wait and get all your snacks
Tune
ready.
in 2 hours early. Before us, if you tune in 2 hours early, you can watch Pro Football Talk, which is also a great program.
Now, that's a show. I don't mean to promote other shows, but that is a show I love as well.
Show.
But tune in for Hannah, 9 p.m. at Sky Sports NFL. Guys, you're going to be catching us again, rowing and arguing next week. Fanatics, please send me a Raiders jersey ready for next week's victory lecture. Never Cowboys. Never, ever send me a Cowboys jersey. Otherwise, I will never promote you ever again. Guys, appreciate you guys. Much love. We'll catch you next week. Peace.